Yes.
This is wonderful thing.
I hope it's there.
Guys all set.
Oh, you know something?
Right. It's 6:30, not according to that clock, but it's 6:30. What do I do?
Oops, I don't have my
So,
watch in.
home to the select board meeting for December 16th to order. You can start with the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So moved. Second.
Those in favor? 5-4. We'll start with the public comment. This portion was public and weigh in on things that aren't on the agenda. Keep in mind, and we can take them up at a future date. Seeing none. Next is review and approval of minutes for December 2nd.
Move to approve the minutes of December 25. Second.
Discussion on minutes.
No, it's okay to me.
You all vote up.
All set, I'm all set.
Yeah.
All those in favor? Approve the meetings, 5-4 again. All right, unfinished business. This is going to be for the warrant articles for coming town meeting. And this is going to be for voting either recommend or not recommend. Right. So. So go through and I'll do the ones that they want to do. We start with Article 2, which passes out much better than the other ones. See if the town will authorize the Board of Select Persons to act on the following. Vote to accept all overdraft balances that have lapsed and are not otherwise directed to the undesignated fund. This is pursuant to 36 MRSA section 506, to authorize the tax collector to accept prepayments of property taxes prior to the delivery of the tax commitment to the tax collector by the assessors without interest. Select board recommendation. All those in favor? 2, 3, 4, 5. 0 against. 5, 0. 0 absent. Article 3, shall the town vote to authorize the Board of Select Persons or their designee to negotiate and the board to enter into multi-year contracts on behalf of the town and to extend existing contracts found to be in the best interest of the town of Belgrade. Select board's recommendation on Article 3. Those 4. 2, 4, 5, 4, and 0 against. Article 4, shall the town fix the date the property taxes shall be due as April 3rd, 2026, establish a delinquency rate of 7.5% on taxes paid after that date. Select board recommendations, all those in favor. 5-4, against. Article 5, to see if the town will vote pursuant to 36 MRS subsection 506A, set an interest rate of 4% to be paid on overpaid abated taxes. Select board recommendation. All those in favor? 5-4-0 against.
Just wondering, should that be MRSA?
That's what I was just gonna, that's why,
It is MRS.
Oh, it is?
Yes, surprisingly.
yeah, I was wondering the same thing. Article 6. See if the town will appropriate estimated revenues in the amount of $1,100,000 from the following sources to reduce the property tax amount. Does everybody want me to read all of these numbers? You're not over all these numbers with it, right?
Can't you put as printed, that'll be on the warrant
Okay.
article?
As printed. Select board recommendations. All those in favor? 5-4-0 against.
Budget committee? 5-4. 6-4.
You're right, didn't
Oh, Sarah.
I think Sarah's voting.
Yeah, that was a 6.
Gotcha, Sarah.
Article 7. To see if the town will appropriate $5,500 from plumbing fees, $4,700 from building permits, and will raise and appropriate from taxation $419,364 from municipal operations and administrative activities to include select board, board of appeals, general administration, town manager, code enforcement, planning board, hearings, elections, and historian. The numbers are as printed below. All those
May I ask a question?
can ask, but we're not going to discuss numbers tonight.
I'm not going to ask a question about numbers.
Okay.
I noticed on the departmental budgets, the costs are broken down, administration and operations. And I understand that the thought there is to provide some clarity. I actually think it sows a little confusion, because when you talk about administration being wages and benefits, that might be true for someone who's actually administering the department, but not for like deputy clerks, transfer station attendants, recreation workers, volunteer firefighters. I just think that could potentially be a bad look for voters if they see that you're spending nearly twice as much on administration costs. I'm throwing some air quotes up around it, compared to operational costs. And I wonder if you wouldn't be better served by just getting rid of those headings altogether and just putting the total cost. Because again, the payroll cost of frontline workers, clearly not an administrative cost.
We'll note that, but we've already voted on these articles, so they're going to stay as written tonight. So maybe next budget we can talk about that with budget committee and see if we want to do that. All right. Select board recommendations. All those in favor? 5-4 against.
Budget committee?
With Sarah.
Sarah.
Hold a second. Can I speak?
I got you, Sarah.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I saw a note from Mrs. Bogle that I cannot vote via Zoom, so I'm going there. I'm just gonna have to be kind of in a corner because I don't feel well.
Okay.
So, if you might- so the first two votes don't count. I
Okay.
should be over there.
Okay, thank you, Sarah.
No problem, thanks.
Does it make sense to go to some of the articles that do not have budget committee recommendations on until Sarah can get here?
Is she coming?
She is. Going to come.
Okay.
We started Article 20.
Sure.
I don't know, I just offer that as a suggestion.
We can do that.
I don't know if there are any in the middle that budget committee does vote on.
Budget committee votes on all, money part.
Right, that's why I said, I think probably
So,
we
yeah.
have to go to
Article
20,
Yes.
but that.
All right, so let's skip to Article 20. To see if the town will appropriate, authorize, designate, or release the collective sum of $10,494.57 as directed by the following trusts and funds. I'm just gonna say as printed, the rest of this. Select board recommendation, yeah, all those in favor? 5, 0 against. Article 21, see if the town will authorize the select board to use monies from the undesignated fund to maintain operations of the 2025 level. Should the voters reject the departmental budget under this warrant. Until such time as the voters approve the revised budget for the departments or departments at a special town meeting. Select board recommendation, all those in favor? 4 against. See if the town will adopt a revised building permit and land use fee schedule as recommended by the Belgrade Board of Select Persons, and to authorize the Board of Select Persons to review and update the fee schedule as needed. Select board recommendation, all those in favor? 4 against.
Dan, if I could make a note, which we might need to revisit, Article 21 with the select board and Article 22 with the select board of select persons. I think we should use consistent language.
Mhm.
So I don't know if we need to revote that language.
I'll
Okay.
go through and make sure it's consistent.
Okay.
That's a good catch, thank you.
I just realized, oops. Okay.
Just a second, Board of Select Persons, you're gonna change that, unfortunately, correct?
Yeah.
Did we used in the earlier part, select board or,
Select board.
no, board or select persons?
Well, there's some that's gonna be Board of Select Persons, it's just
Yeah.
depending on how it's phrased, so.
It says select board recommendations on all.
That's what it says down below, so we should match it, yeah.
Shall the town amend the town of Article 23. Shall the town of Belgrade amend the town of Belgrade shoreline zoning map adopted by the town on May 19th, 1997 for the purposes of rezoning land along Belgrade Stream identified as lots 3 and 19D on the current town of Belgrade tax map 3 from resource protection to limited residential. Select board recommendations on that one. All those in favor? 5-4-0.
Carol, were you a yes?
What?
Were you a yes?
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
okay, gotcha, thank you.
Yeah, I'm still, yeah. Article 24. Shall the town vote to authorize the Board of Select Persons to accept a gift 0.75 acres located on property tax map 2 and lot 007 and to execute any documents related to the acceptance said gift pertaining to the transfer of ownership of the property. Select board recommendations, all those in favor? 4.
Is that the parking lot?
It's a strip of land
No.
down by the Belgrade Street,
Down by your
at
house.
the end of the North Road.
Okay.
Oh, if I could.
Everything that's gonna be done with the budget. Yeah.
We have,
They say we're doing.
yeah, you have
At least.
associate, yeah, good vote.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could, yeah.
So.
Right.
We do have an alternate there, so to
I
do.
think you should just wait for Sarah.
Okay. We can do that too, if everybody doesn't mind waiting a few minutes.
Either you wanna jump onto, further onto the agenda and come back for this?
Do the historical
Yeah,
society.
we talk about the historical society we used to. We can ultimately table this until Sarah gets here.
So moved. Second.
There you go. All right, so we're waiting historical societies.
So attached for review and consideration is the historical links for the Center for All Seasons and North Belgrade Community Center space, which covers the first 6 months of 2026 and then renews annually thereafter, July 1 through June 30. To coincide with our new fiscal year, the Board of Parks and Recreation and Historical Society have both reviewed the draft and approved.
So am I correct? The biggest change is just shared space was put in there to make it
Yes.
work for both groups.
Yeah, do we have any concerns? Sorry.
Can I just add
Yes.
something on?
Yes.
No, we're fine with release, as it is. We have some reservation, but that we'll handle that as we go along, but that's fine. One of the things that got dropped in this whole conversation, and I would just really love to take care of it tonight if we can, is that we also had asked to change the town meeting house lease. Right now it says you can give us 30 days notice to vacate, and we just wanted to change that to 9/8. To be reasonable about whether we could get stuff out of the building in 30 days. And that was at the beginning, and I kind of dropped keeping asking you about it because we went on keeping this lease. So I didn't know if it would be possible at all to put that in tonight too, and then we'd be done with the lease.
When does that lease expire?
I don't have it in front of me.
I'd like to see it before, rather than just doing it on.
If we can add it to the agenda.
Okay, yeah, fine.
If it isn't, we can just, when it expires, we'll just,
It's annually, it just renews, is how it's written. I believe.
okay. So probably
So-
we should be redoing that at the same time for 6
You
months.
can give me 30 days notice, but I can guarantee you we can't get everything
Can't get
out.
out.
Right.
Yeah,
That's fine.
That's fine. I mean, if that one should be renewed at the same time as these, let's get that done up too and change that.
That'd be good.
Yeah,
That way we can bring it.
have it all
back.
together.
Yeah, that would be good.
I'll do the 6 months and then we'll go to the year and go from there, just like.
I move that we approve the lease between the town of Belgrade and the Belgrade Historical Society as presented.
Second. All right, all those in favor? 5-4, 0 against. All right, Sarah's back. Up here. You're just gonna stay over there and hide.
Stay here, I don't want anyone to get sick.
Yeah.
You want a chair?
I'm good, I'm perfect.
All right.
Article,
So you're on 7.
No, we're gonna go back to Article 6. And just let these, let the committee vote on it again since Sarah's here.
Article 6, everyone in favor, budget committee? 6-4.
Okay, and Article 7.
6-4, I'm thinking number 4.
Item 7, budget committee, all in favor? 6,
Yeah, oh, we're back on track. All right, Article 8. State and town will raise and appropriate $42,700 for insurance, which includes HRA administration, HRA claims, property and casualty, unemployment, workers' compensation, recreation, volunteer firefighter coverage. And the amounts as printed. Select board recommendation, all those in favor. 5.
budget committee? 6.
Article 9. See if the town will appropriate $26,450 in non-tax revenue. Raise and appropriate from taxation $279,587 for public safety. For a total of $306,037 to include.
We added in animal control officer special revenue fund, $1,667, which brought non-tax revenue to 28,117 and taxation to 277,920. I did not update the article language. It's my error.
So funding from taxes is 279.
277,920. The numbers below are correct, but the language in the article is.
Oh, okay.
So what's the second number for taxation?
277,920.
Well, that was the money we changed the last bit.
You are correct, yes.
So see if the town will appropriate $28,117 from in non-tax revenue and raise and appropriate taxation $277,901 public safety for a total of, what's the new total?
That is correct. The total is correct.
Oh,
306,037.
There's for question.
as soon as I finish reading this one. I don't want to read it a third time.
I thought you did.
To include emergency management, fire, rescue, general administration and operations, municipal streetlights, animal control, health officer and dispatch for any unexpended balance from the fire and rescue department budget lapsing into the equipment capital reserve.
Okay, thank you. Under dog fees, don't you collect those in the first 6 months?
The $750, those are late fees, yes.
If it was 1,000 less, I take it that was January to June last year.
Right.
If it was 1,000, why is it only 750?
That's what the budget committee and the select board voted and approved through the process.
Do you remember why we did that, Bruce?
I can't remember at this time one. I know it was a reason, there was some numbers that. But I can't remember what the numbers were now.
My memory of the conversation, though I was not on the budget committee at that time, I was just a member of the public, was that it was a conservative estimate, that we never know how many people will be late. And so I think you settled on 750 as a conservative estimate of what you might expect.
Thank you.
And it wouldn't surprise me if you still collect some late fees, passages, if you do that, okay.
Yeah,
Just one other thing, and we don't have to change it in this article unless you guys choose to. We probably, since we have dispatch in there, we probably should have Delta ambulance into this too.
Oh, I'm up on the top or something.
Yeah,
So,
just to highlight this, so, it's, more clear for the taxpayers, so.
Is that included under fire and rescue, general administration and operations?
It is.
It is. It's a big, good sized number, so.
Can add ambulance service.
There you go, that'll work.
Right?
Yeah.
Matthew.
and Sarah.
The number that keeps growing and growing, right?
Can somebody walk me through the addition of the numbers in the far right column? Just the funding from property taxes is gonna be 277,920. And that number is supposed to be the addition of the above totals. Just don't seem to be adding up.
Subtract, you don't add.
you subtract the 28 from the 306.
So that's revenue.
That's not consistent in all the articles, for clarity's sake,
So there we
so.
go. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I guess I'm not. Well,
The 277 and the 28,117 add up to 306,037, which is your number, the first bold number.
Got it.
Mary has.
Aaron?
Yeah, no, yeah, Jillian was correct about the number. We can never tell about how many people are going to be late in paying the fees, but I know that the board, and I guess I missed it at the last meeting, the board decided to take a third of the $5,000 that was proposed. Those are special ACO revenue fees that have been accumulating over the past 10 to 15 years. So I use those fees for the rabies clinic, for the dog basket. We have about $25,000 there. And I'm not really sure why it got reduced to. I've never proposed to use it before, but I see it that we had these funds and that we can use them. And they can only be used for the purpose of animal control. So it would help to reduce that budget. So once again, I know that Dan said we're not changing the numbers, but I think changing that back to $5,000 would be a good thing. We have the funds there. I'm not going to use those funds. In the next 10 years, we will not use those funds. Those are only late fee funds.
Mary, I think we started out last meeting using the full 5,000, but then realized that where it's only 6 months, it's gonna impact it. It gives a bigger discount now, and then we go the full year budget
Yep.
next. So we'll see the remaining difference when we do that budget for June.
I think it's going to have a bigger impact if you use those funds now, because come that next town meeting, that is going to be such a small amount that it is not going to have the same impact that it will have on this budget right now. We've never used these funds before. I've never proposed it before, but they are available. And I think it would be a bigger impact to use these funds now that we have. Anyway, I mean, it's the board's decision.
Carol, you had your hand up.
I'm sorry,
You had your hand up before I called him.
I can't hear you,
You
Dan.
had your hand up before.
No, that was, I was just answering that question. I don't have another question.
I just want to make sure I'm understanding. So we have a pot of 25,000. And it was suggested that we use 5 out of that pot, leaving 20. We could potentially use more of that $20,000, which we haven't been tapping into in the next budget cycle, correct? Or are we limited in how much?
I think what the board discussed at their last meeting was that instead of using the full 5,000, they would use 1/3 for this 6-month budget, and then for the June annual town meeting, we would use the other 2/3 to reduce.
I'm aware.
I think her question is.
We didn't know that it's 25,000.
Bingo.
Right, it's
Right.
25,000,
It's
not
been,
5,000.
yeah, it builds up, but like Mary said, it's been building up for 10 years.
But we've never tapped
So how
into
can
it.
We have
how
never-
can
we've never did it
take like
with it.
Never
$15,000
tapped into
and use
For this.
5 for this and 10,000 next budget then? So
That was my
how
question.
did we come up with the 5,000?
That was a suggestion, Mary and I were looking at the numbers and thought 5,000 might be a good round number to help reduce the public safety budget.
Right. I use about $2,000 a year for the rabies clinic and
Basket.
the basket, and we draw 5 $100 gift certificates to vets. So about $2,000 a year I use. I mean, I don't want to drain the account, but I think that using the $5,000 would be a safe number to use. And if the board wants to use another 5 come the June budget, I think that will be fine. Those are all late fees. And it's by state statute that special fund is set up for late fees to be used only for the purpose of animal control. But I mean, it's the board's decision. I proposed 5,000 and I felt very safe in doing so.
So if we want to keep it proportionate, then we would use 10,000 for the
We didn't
next
know that
budget.
it's 25,000.
And we're talking about the line above.
The thing is, we went to $5,000 from 1,600. How much is that? Are we talking pennies on tax?
We are.
Yeah.
This gives us consistency and
We'll do it this
we
way.
can pick it up at the
I'd
next.
say we just could stay what we decided the other night in the next budget. There's enough money where we can actually use some money out of it,
Mhm.
great. All right. Select board. Recommendation, all those in favor of this article? 5, 4, 0.
Budget committee,
In the way it's written.
the way it's written. 6-4.
Article 10. See if the town will raise and appropriate from taxation $404,125 for public works to include general road maintenance, winter maintenance, salt and sand, sand and salt, and any unexpended balance lapsing into the road's capital reserve. As written below. Select board recommendation, all those in favor? 5-4. No votes.
Budget committee. 6-4.
Article 11, see if the town will appropriate $88,200 in income from the cemetery portfolio and raise and appropriate from taxation $43,710 for the cost of operations and maintenance of the cemeteries as written below. So
I just got one question and it's not that I want change, I just for clarification. The 8,200, is that all this year's portfolio?
It's the January to June earnings of this year.
Okay, so I think I asked you this, so come the June.
There will be more.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
select board recommendation, all those in favor? 2, 3, 4, 5, 4.
Budget committee? 6-4.
Article 12, see if the town will raise and appropriate from taxation $220,335 for maintenance of facilities and grounds to include administration, Center for All Seasons, North Belgrade Community Center, maintenance garage, sand and salt shed, Lakes Fire Station, Depot Fire Station, North Belgrade Fire Station, transfer station, parks, dams, history house, town office, library, and workman field. It's written below. Select board recommendations, all those in favor?
I have a question.
Yeah.
In most of these arrangements, you take the numbers in the top half where it says operations administration, and then you deduct the funding from non-property sources.
Mhm.
Is that the same with this 1,500?
That was
That's actual.
2025 actual.
I understand, I just wanna understand the math, so that I'm
Right.
comparing apples.
There's nothing under the request.
Right.
I understand that, but I'm curious in 2025 actuals, that 1,500, is that a cost or is that money coming in that we're offsetting?
That's money coming in,
Okay,
revenue.
thank you.
Select board recommendation, all those in favor? 5-4.
Budget committee? 6-4.
Oh, no, I
Nope.
did not vote.
You didn't. 5-4. One
Against?
against.
Article 13, see if the town will raise and appropriate from taxation $180,754 for administration and operations of solid waste, written below. Select board recommendations, all those in favor? 5-4.
Budget committee?
6.
Ron, you got yours up or down for, so, okay, 6-4. All right. No problem.
All right, item 14, the town will raise and appropriate from taxation. $61,975 for library services. With any unexpended balances lapsing into the library capital reserve, stated below. First,
I guess. A kind of a question that has come up about the cap, like this one for instance, capital reserve, we don't own the building. They already have 25,000 in capital reserve, why are we putting all their unexpended into the capital reserve?
We have a
There's a
perpetuity,
perpetuity
there's
article,
a perpetuity article.
but so is this even necessary?
Yeah,
I think it's more for transparency.
still raised and appropriate.
Right.
Just add that, yeah.
We do have perpetuity articles
So
for both
I'll probably vote no on that one.
recreation and library.
Okay.
I'm confused about how. I'm confused about the question. May I clarify the question? Is your question, why are we not using more of that reserve to offset their budget? Like we're only pulling 8,500, or is your question different from that?
No, my question is, I think we should be changing it and not lapsing their extra money on their budget into their capital reserve, because they don't own the building. Well, somebody else owns the building, so we don't maintain the building, so. So I don't, they have a healthy capital reserve already, I don't think we need to keep adding to it.
But as I understand it, we have a perpetuity article that we have to abide by.
And we do,
So at this point,
Right.
we can't change the article, the perpetuity article before this vote.
but you guys have the option to add another article to change that. As a select board.
Yeah, and actually, I would like to do it on the next budget, because I'd actually like to sit down and have a discussion on limiting the capital reserves, capping them at a certain dollar amount. So,
The budget committee is probably gonna discuss that too when we start in January.
I have a question about why in 2025 we use library capital reserves and we've chosen not to this year.
That's because I fought for them.
Okay, I'm just curious if there was a reason
I don't
behind
think we've
that.
done it every year.
No,
No.
but you just did because it was up there and I asked to take some out of the capital reserve.
In looking at the proposed 6-month budget, and I actually brought printouts of what's circulating online and I double checked the numbers. Like the percentage increases are really substantial. If that's a place where we can consider the impact on taxpayers, I would just suggest that the board continue to look at those options. We've had a lot of questions about the spending, and that is a lot of capital reserves. If there's a reason to justify it, it makes sense, but if there isn't a reason to justify it, it might make sense to use a portion of that year to year until it's at a level that's appropriate.
so why did the budget committee feel not recommend using it this year?
I don't think, because we'd already gone through this part of it when we finally get the capital reserve stuff. And I guess I never put two together until the article's written that the remaining of what they don't use in the budget goes into the capital reserve. I didn't catch that last year, but we didn't recommend any of it was a 6-month budget. It was kind of we were struggling to figure the 6-month budget out. This has been quite a struggle.
Oh, I understand, I just,
Yeah.
I don't have the,
I mean,
I don't have the reasoning in front of me, so that's why I was asking.
If we had more time, yes, we probably would have recommended taking some money. Budget.
That doesn't mean we can't do it for June.
Right,
Right.
and we definitely probably will.
But we can't do it now.
We can if we wanna go back and revote and revisit and change the numbers, because we probably reset all the votes. That's why I didn't wanna get into changing numbers, man, if we didn't have to.
Right?
You could reduce the budget. Or time to get us. Sarah,
For this, like, by Rowan Peter's plate, also to speak. It was kind of an oversight, I will admit then, from the budget committee. So we don't reduce it now, but we're committing to reduce next time, June. So changing and voting against it, I don't think is appropriate right now. Would be my opinion.
But like I said, they could be reduced on the town floor too, so that's why everything's done on the town floor, so. All right, so select board recommendation. All those in favor? All right, 4 against.
Budget committee. 4. 2 against.
Article 15, see if the town will appropriate $34,592 from anticipated recreation revenue. Raise and appropriate from taxation $116,107 for recreation services. With any unexpended balance lapsing into the recreation capital reserve. Is right from below. Oh.
Okay, so just. This is another confusing thing of a 6-month budget thing. So it makes it, this budget, it makes it look very lopsided because unfortunately. Her revenues, most of her revenues are capped to this. So. I don't know if there's a way we can explain that. In the article, but I don't know, I know a lot of people are screaming about this type of stuff and. And people don't understand, we understand it as a group here that the revenues for the recreation doesn't come in until summertime. So there's a very few revenues that first 6 months, and I just hate to see something fail because. I'm looking for guidance from you guys to figure out how we can show that. So it looks better.
I think we can bring it up at the
So,
information meeting.
Yeah, I think that's part of what we're gonna do that.
Explain it there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say is I plan to be at that informational meeting. I do think it's tricky. And so it's like an individual explanation to everyone. Lorna and I have gone through it multiple times, including the reason today. We looked at it again. You know, when you look at that 2660 in summer camp fees, for example, from January to June, and then you're looking for me to add $42,000. What you don't see is when we get heavy June 15th through the end of August. So excuse me, actual summer camp fees are like 50,830 that comes in. So you can't see that without somebody explaining it, which is the tricky part. You also can't start a summer camp program with 90 kids without having your payroll there, because then we're in a situation of 90 kids getting dropped off. It's all set to go. And then we hit the next budget cycle when the money isn't there. You know, we did ask for an additional part-time staff for after-school program, because there has been a need. I tried to figure out a way to shorten it. We've done the best that we can. We added the sale program. Those are 2 counselors. We've not been given a grant. Those are information that the town, I'm happy to provide that to the informational meeting. We've gotten a grant for 70 manpower hours for up to 6 employees, but we still have to budget accordingly and then just use that against it after should we offset the cost. The best we can do. It's a unique situation in that our season is, you know, middle of June, and we are taking into consideration training when school gets out, so we don't fall into that EPL for the June 15th to September 15th. So we'll try to keep our staff in that window to help offset cost. I have a question, and I want to preface this by saying, like, my family loves the rec program. My kid does not want to leave at the end of the day. It is absolutely the way we're able to be a two income family, and so I absolutely love it. I am confused though about what is in the budget. I was under the impression initially, when I first went into these meetings, that this gave the rec department the funds they needed to staff for the summer. So they knew they could say to parents like, we're all set, you're staffed for July. But then I think at the last meeting, I believe it was Lorna and may have been someone else, indicated that that's not what's in the budget, that this is just a couple weeks. You know, that this only covers the staffing through June, and I just want to make sure I really understand. I also was just doing, frankly, some like back of the napkin math using the payroll last year, and it looks to me like we're asking for more money than I would anticipate. And also on the flip side, not accounting for what I would expect the revenues to be. And so I'm just curious, like how we got to these numbers, if there's somebody that could take a moment to explain them before we vote. Does this include just January to June, or does this help us staff for the whole summer so that we know if we're supporting this $40,000 increase, exactly why we're and part of that transparency?
The budget is a 6-month budget, so you're not going to go beyond the end of June.
So this is only for the 6 month.
It's only a 6-month budget.
So
So you're not funding a July in those numbers at all.
so
And Lauren, when you're looking at this sheet that you have as a printout, just so I'm correct, you're not counting Uber and I in that personnel number of 32,750. This one that's on the table tonight,
The one so full-time is 53,000, overtime is 2,500, we have 40 hours a week, 34 hours a week. For 24 weeks, that's part-time, split between probably 2 or 3 young people for like after-school programming and that sort of thing. So you're looking at 14,500, and then you have 2 weeks to get all of your camp staff together, start training, orientation, that sort of thing in June. So you're looking at 23,500, which puts you at that 38,000 number. And then you have taxes at 7,500, PFML at 470, retirement at 5,700, and health insurance at 15,270.
So in the email that you sent earlier today, you said though that there were 19 young people working. And my memory is that there were like 13 staff last summer. And I think they've asked for an increase of 1. And so my concern, because I love rec, is that these numbers might be inflated or not quite accurate. And it makes it look like they're asking for more money for that January to June than they actually, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand, because I asked for some, are you gonna have 19 people on staff this summer?
so I tried to pull payroll warrants. We had 13, not counting Avery and I, June to the end of July. And that included our 2 part-time lifeguards and women. We did, again, Dan had, prior to me, hired some staff that left after, so we've got a little overlap here, but I pulled a payroll warrant from June 18th through July 9th, which took us through first week of camp was like July 6th or whatever that was. So that included training. So this year, Lauren and I did figure in an additional part-time staff for the after-school program in the spring because I'm losing one. We also tried to take into account that we had 2 staff members who were hired at higher rates. And when they leave one in January and one in April, we will be replacing them at a lower rate. So I think that's why you averaged more enough, correct?
I've got 17 on my list here for payroll. And then you would add the 2 part-timers that you use all year long who also help you with camp.
But that's
then you
double
have-
count, isn't it?
And then you have you and Avery.
Isn't Mary there in
Mary-
school, but then she also serves as a summer person, so we don't want to count her twice.
Correct, that's why I have 17, and then Mary is one of those people that's the part-time all year round.
And Connor is.
And Connor.
I don't want it to look like we need more money than we do and have it get voted down. That's my concern. Like, I really want this rec program to continue. This childcare is super essential for my family and a ton of us that work and live here. There is not another childcare option in Belgrade that you can get a bus to. So you're looking at 70 families, 100 families that would really be in a bind if the voters vote this down. So that's where I'm coming from. I just want to make sure that what we're asking for is what we're getting. And it just, like, I still haven't figured out the numbers. And so I don't, Obviously, it's not a great time to bring it up, but I just wanna make sure that when we get to town meeting, we can very clearly explain why we're asking for this amount and how this matches the staffing. Because if we're only asking for one more new person in summer, why are we asking for $40,000 more? That's my concern. And so I think the other side, I think those are great questions, and I do think, again, we are in a unique position. I do feel confident we can fund it. We have a wait list right now of 16 kids again, so it's back up. There is a need, we know that. The Parks and Rec Board has been looking at, I think Anthony at one point had mentioned, there's a fine line between having something make money and something hold its own. And so the value of a recreation program or a center for all seasons that houses historical society and offers programming to seniors and adults is to find that balance. Because if you price yourself out, you're no longer a service to the community. We have 26% of our tax base are average 36 to 44-ish, which are our parents, right? So they're already paying into taxes for a program. So we don't want the rate to get higher for them because that's what allows families to sustain and pay into the tax base here in Belgrade. So I feel confident we can argue it. I hate to use the term argue. But I also don't want to be in a position where we have 16 kids on a wait list and we have to keep saying no, and we discourage new families from moving to the community, because us having the additional funds means Lorna and I aren't pinching saying, you and Avery have to stay the full 40 hours and we've got to skimp 2 hours here and there for everybody else, but you don't have enough staff to support the need of the kids. We added additional summer campers this summer. We added the sale program. The sale program's already, we've got that 4 spaces left for the summer. So I am confident that we have the revenue coming in. The place we can grow the most is by far our rentals, and that we'll be sending that to the select board soon for an increase in rates, because we have a gap there that can offset cost as well. So I think they're great questions, Yes, I am asking for more money. That's what it boils down to.
But what I'm hearing is that you need 13, but we budgeted for 19.
Well-
That's that's problematic. That's problematic. And to Jillian's point, I'm concerned that you folks aren't more concerned that this thing has a real chance of getting voted down at town meeting. And Carol, I'm not boring you, am I?
No, I'm looking at what was sent to you today
Okay.
for the clarification
Okay,
of
and
overtime.
I'm looking at, so I got clarification, it's 19 people that's been budgeted for, I just heard 13 from the rec director.
Well, we had 13 at the beginning, and then we go into July where our
Okay,
numbers
but-
grow for sale.
But again, we just already established, this budget is through June 30th. We worry about what happens in July, the first July 1st fiscal year. So, I mean, as she said, the increases are alarming, and I think we're playing with fire if we don't try to reduce that as much as we possibly can.
Sarah.
I don't disagree with this argument, but the program do starts in June, isn't it?
It starts in June.
So there's about 3 weeks in June that the program starts. Is that right?
Correct.
So what I am hearing here is that there's a forecast, so to speak, for this summer. And the forecast is that this program is going to increase. So the rec director is just trying to be ready for that, to be able to absorb that. And that's very easy to demonstrate to the community if we have this charted for the last 2 or 3 years. Now, if we demonstrate that with charts and so on, a simple graph that people can absorb it and understand it, and they're willing to have the program grow and absorb the extra people, the extra kids are gonna be in the summer, and have a chance for the community. That's a good thing. If they vote it down, well, if in that extra a number of kids come in and we had to say no, then we're losing as a community. So I think what it's a new vision of the rec center, so to speak. What Kristen is trying to do is to appropriately forecast what is coming this summer. Now, the community might accept it, the community might turn it down, and that's fine, I guess. But we have to rely on what our head departments are bringing in and the numbers and how they're moving forward into this whole thing. The rec center is a profit maker, and it's the only profit maker in this town, basically.
No, it's not.
Which else is a profit maker?
It loses money. It does not earn a profit.
So-
And I'm not suggesting that it should, but that's just an inaccurate statement.
Why you say it's an
It
accurate
generates
statement?
To help offset.
Because we're raising the
It's not like-
Yeah, but she means like $30,000 in a year.
Sarah, if you look at the whole year actuals, it's tax subsidized
I
To about-
would love to
to
have that
about, to
done.
about 50%.
I guess I have not been paying attention to that, but I would like to see that done.
And again, this budget is through July 30th. You don't plan ahead for what's gonna happen in July in this budget.
But there's 3 weeks of it.
Because that's what your fund balance is for. That's exactly what your fund balance is for, is to carry you through if you have expenses until you collect your taxes in October. And you got the fund balance. How do we know this? Because you didn't have to access a tax anticipation note this year. And in addition to that, you also raised and appropriated an extra $103,000 for interest for that tax anticipation note that you didn't use. You've got plenty of money to cover your payroll if you need to have more staff beginning July 1. You don't budget a cushion for the next fiscal year. That's not how this is supposed to work.
Yeah, and I'm actually confused as to, because I did hear step 13, we'll budget it for 19. How did we come up with the difference between those two?
Lorna, we pulled between after school in the spring. And yes, you have to total, like we lost 2 people in the spring. So I think those were taken into account as a head count of after school folks that left to go, or in the fall, excuse me, or wherever they left, right? So they still counted because when you pull a payroll, let's say Erin Kalbach, for example, is no longer on payroll, but she was counted in there because there was an overlap when she had. So we have 3 lifeguards. I do think that the lifeguards were budgeted for 40 hours a week. And the tricky piece is that our lifeguards are 20 hours or less a week, but some of them also serve as camp counselors. So they may stay for 20 hours as a lifeguard, but then they stay for their additional 15 hours as a camp counselor.
But that makes them 1 employee, not 2.
It should make them 1 employee. So I would ask Lorna if we counted them as 1, and I believe that we.
I have all individual names on.
So you've got how many individual names?
I have 17 for summer camp and sail camp, and I have the
Avery and I.
Avery and Kristen are separate, and then the year-round after school, the part-time 34 average 34 hours a week, that is separate as well.
So that's total 20.
But that's not 34 hours each for after school. That should.
No, that's
Okay.
just a total, right?
And all of those people are probably not working at the same time.
They're not.
They're taking vacation, they're sick, they take a holiday, so you shouldn't be counting people, you should be counting positions. How many positions do you need?
So we did add an after school position, so that would make even at below, that would make 15. And then we added a summer camp part-time as a float if somebody was sick, because we have 3 groups of 2 counselors, so we have a lead
Okay,
counselor.
but you don't count that, you don't count that person that they're filling in a swamp.
Raise your hand.
I'm sorry, you're right.
So I think what everybody's asking, how many people do you have employed from January 1st? I'm not gonna go to June, say January 1st to May 30th. How many people do you have in? No,
May.
I'm gonna go to May because June it will change.
It's Avery and I, that's 2,
Yeah,
and then we have Mary, Connor,
yeah.
and we have Heaven, so that's 3 after school. And we have 1 part-time that floats if one of those after school people is ill.
You got 6 people.
6.
Correct.
And in May, you have to hire,
We have 3 lifeguards, so
but you're only gonna be paying those, well, pool's not gonna be open in May.
no, but they still, no, but they still will be there in
But
June.
they're only gonna be there for this budget for.
A very small portion. I don't want to cut her payroll because, cut her too short because she's short now for the after school program. I know that already. She's already bulging at the, seams now. you know, that's not what I'm after, I'm just trying to get more clarification for everybody, so. I don't wanna see this fail, because this is a big draw for people to come to this town, is that right? It's huge, you hear it everywhere, so.
So we have that window, excuse me, between. The end of, let's say, the first week of June is when kids are gonna get out projected. So we have that first week of June. Well, we have January to the first week of June that you could not count those staff on, I guess, is what they're saying, right? But that's how we did it anyway, I
Right.
thought. is
I
we
did all
the
of the,
numbers.
I did all of the camp for just 2 weeks. And then your part-time year round is, I just did an average of 34 hours a week.
Not
and then-
counting the summer.
And an average payroll rate per hour to come up with a figure. I didn't count 2 or 3 individuals. I just did one. Right, you're covering 34 hours a week.
Did you count all staff at 40 hours is the question.
The
I guess.
camp, yes, camp,
Right, camp staff.
yeah, because
So-
most of them were overtime actually. During camp, almost every week, overtime.
Because we only scheduled them for 15 hours.
They weren't just 40
Right.
hours, they were overtime. They were over 40.
Sarah, one thing in the open, see what people know.
I appreciate the words from Mr. Bruce on the program. I am, you guys also know that I am the school board. And we are probably one of the towns that have less kids here. One of my biggest concerns with this community is that we don't wanna have kids coming up. The success of these programs and the rec center are important. They're important to Jill, they're important to me. And forecasting appropriately will be a big difference. And I would like to have anybody in this room to tell me if any of these items we have an income of money of 70 grand a year in any of these items. Only the rec center does. Thank you.
All right. Well, you're gonna have to be prepared to defend it, because I suspect there's gonna be a discussion.
Right, I think if you can say that this budget's for X amount of people from January 1st to first week of June, and then it increases from the second week of June on to, you know, I think that will help a lot in explaining that, you know, on the informational meeting and at the, you know, the town meeting, and also explain that you did increase one person, so you know, so you can increase your staff and increase, take in more kids for the after school program.
All right. Select board. Recommendation, all those in favor? 5-4-0.
Budget committee. 6-4.
Oh, 16. See if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the taxation $4,575. Postal services, which will include Memorial Day, senior resources, and those listed as listed below. Select board recommendation, those in favor? 5,
Budget committee.
6.
6-4.
Article 17, to see if the town will raise and appropriate the taxation of $9,895 for Belgrade's share of the first 6 months. 2026 operating and maintenance costs of the village dam, Wings Mills, Salmon Lake Dam. See for that. Select board recommendation, all those in favor? 5-4.
Budget committee. 6-4.
Article 18, see if the town will raise and appropriate the taxation $360,930 for the paving road bond principal and interest payment, and $3,500 for legal fees, for a total of $364,430 for debt service. Select board recommendation, all those in favor? 5-4.
Budget committee. 6-4.
On that article, we had .00 after the number, and
Yeah.
not the other ones we do.
I'll take that.
Is it still?
Good catch.
All right, Article 19. See if the town will raise and appropriate $969.29 in property taxes and appropriate $30.71 from the Don C. Stevens Fund for a total of $1,000 to support an academic award from the town to the highest ranked elderly senior graduated in 2026. Select board recommendation, all those in favor? 5-4.
Budget committee.
We broke twice.
6-4.
That's one we'll move on to Article 25. So the town vote, you can vote the following accounts and appropriate the total of $2,256 to reduce the tax burden stated below. First, all the property. Select board recommendation, all those in favor? 5-4.
Budget committee. 6-4.
We got them all.
Lorna, should we leave our folks here?
You can, sure, yeah, please keep them in the back.
All right, on to new business. Committee appointments and resignations. As you know, the recreation fund.
And there.
Legal service and RFP.
So this was mentioned at your last meeting. So I pulled 2 or 3 from other municipalities, and Mary and I went through them. And settled on one that seemed to meet our needs with the least amount of changes. And there's a draft for your review and consideration. Included.
But we have spoken to legal services. We are saying under the.
Yes, full 40.
Right.
With. So.
Is that what you?
Yeah, usually.
All right, so.
So if we can keep, if we are able to keep it below the $15,000. Then we don't need the RFP at this point.
Correct, unless the board chose to put one out anyway. That's a.
And the contract that we have with them is for the calendar year or for our new fiscal year?
They run, we've been running calendar year.
And so will it remain calendar year once we move to?
No, it will swap over to fiscal for our budget. I think they do both. Because they service several communities.
So we wanted to, because of this.
Yes, I told, yeah,
For the July month.
yes, I told Phil that we may put out an hour and so obviously they could. Put something in, and I said that, but I said, if we don't do it now, this may be for the June budget, so he's aware. We had a good conversation.
I don't see a reason why.
So what's the board's pleasure? You wanna just look at this over and then try to make a decision if we wanna do it? Oh,
I was gonna say, would we wait, do it a little later,
Yeah.
closer time? or no?
I don't see any reason to do it now.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
so let's put this back on the agenda and we come up with a decide if we're actually gonna put up the RFP or not. We can have some discussion on that.
February,
April?
February.
Or March?
Yeah. Yeah, end of February.
End of February.
Something like that. Yeah, like somewhere around, find that. Might be like that. The news is in Sarah. We'll leave it the book down, so we can fill it back out. Transfer station fees.
Feel better, Sarah? No, thanks.
Thank you, Sarah.
So the transfer station committee met and discussed this at their last meeting and Ken got a hold of me and we had a good conversation about this. So the following are recommendations from the transfer station and recycle committee for the board's consideration. So currently, free on items, we're charging an $8 fee, but our cost is $9. To get rid of them, other area towns are charging $16. We would like to recommend $15. Tires, we're currently charging $3, but it costs us $4.
As of January 1st, we're going.
Oh, sorry. So recommendation would be $5. And then demo is a little bit more complicated. We're currently charging $15 a cubic yard. Area towns, you've got Reedfield at 45 cubic yard, Oakland 105 a ton, Mount Vernon 25 a cubic yard, and Winthrop at 140 a ton. And then what Ken and his crew have noticed is that part of the issue is contractors are bringing in debris from other towns and putting the burden on Belgrade taxpayers, not to mention the cost of removal has increased exponentially since our last fee increases. How long has it been? 15 years?
No, it was I think somewhere around 2016.
So 10-ish, around 10 or 10.
Somewhere.
Yeah. So the committee is recommending $35 a cubic yard for demo.
And I realize cubic yard is a different measuring
Yeah, we
system
don't have the
than
scale, so.
that ton, so
Right.
how do you equate these roughly, how do you equate?
Well, you can, there is a formula you can figure it out. I didn't go by that because it depends, but
Right.
shingles and wood weigh totally different, so. You know, if you go buy a ton of shingles. That's a pickup truck full of shingles would be, $140. Right now, we're charging $25 to $30.
We'll start with the first, items. When we get down to demo, I've got some other questions. The free on items, if area towns are charging 16, how come we're just not gonna meet the area towns?
Say that one more
How
time?
come it's not gonna call it 16 instead of, you wanna charge 15? All the area towns do it.
I have no issue with going to 16 with the same as.
Why don't we just match all the other towns if they're all at 16?
We can do that.
Makes sense to me. Like, why do we wanna be a lot cheaper? Cause then, again, I'm afraid people are gonna stop bringing stuff that we don't, because we're cheaper.
Well, that's another issue that we're gonna bring up soon, so.
Anthony,
So Dan, if you're gonna do that from a cash handling standpoint, why not just go 20? It's easier to accept a $20 bill than a 10, 5, and 1.
That's true.
Yeah, but also then you're gonna take consideration that we don't know. Yeah, I don't want it on the side of the road either.
If someone's gonna dump it for $4, they're gonna dump it for $5.
I think that when you get into the refrigerator, Steve's appliance or whatever is still in business. I don't know what, Bruce, do you know what they charge to take your old refrigerator?
25.
They charge 25 to take your old refrigerator out when they deliver new.
Right.
Bruce's recommendation was $15 on the committee, so.
well, I just brought it up. I said, why, if everyone else is charging 16, why are we going to 16? And Anthony said, why don't we just do 20?
I mean, nobody's wrong, right? We had more, I went 15, so I'm game with anything that you guys say. Cause it all costs us money.
And exactly, and if we've got It's people dropping off refrigerators and we gotta move them around and move them over here and everything. We're handling them and everything else, not to mention what it costs us to get rid of the chemicals, so.
Right, you gotta remember, we also give, take one on a punch card, so,
That's right,
you're taking one free one a year anyway,
So
so.
that's right. The one free one, yeah, every 2 years. Yeah, that's,
I say go with $20. It's easier, don't have to make change.
sure, yeah,
It's not gonna get any cheaper because refrigerant, Dougie can tell you, refrigerant, anything to do with refrigerant is gonna start, especially the older refrigerators, it's gonna be very expensive to it.
I say just go with $20. Round to make it easier. And tires. How much do we have to handle the tires when they come in?
almost nothing. I just have to I can straighten them out, once you push them back with the skid
Is
steer.
anyone, how much, I can't remember how much the tire places charge to dispose of tires now, you know?
$3. I think
How
it's,
much?
$3.
yeah, it's most places they
Yeah,
get
it'll
three.
go up to, because BDS is going up to $4 a tire it's as of January 1st, and that's
Right.
across the board, that's everybody, every town.
And so the tire places will end up going up to the
Right.
$4, they'll match that, cause that's who they pick up their tires too, so. I know like Sam's Club, I think it's $5.
So it's just easier to handle a $5 bill than 4 ones.
Well,
You can go to 6, then you.
I was thinking higher because I'd rather have the tire companies deal with them, make it more, less convenient for them to bring to us than it is to have them.
Well, again, it's on punch cards, so.
Yeah, that's, it was a punch card.
Is it for a year or for?
For every spot.
For 2 years, yeah.
Or for 2 years?
I don't know, what's the select board think on this one?
We can always come back and revisit it if we feel we're getting,
So go to 5 for now, then.
Well, yeah, I'm getting the increase as of January 1st.
We need to be
Right.
above what the increase is gonna be for sure.
Yeah, okay, so we'll stick to $5 bill. Demo. Having contractors bringing in stuff to the town. And paying the same thing as a residence is always hard.
It's a
And
problem.
I honestly think that we should start having prices for contractors. If you're gonna bring in stuff as a contractor, we should be charging the contractor.
It's in our discussion, but that has to go be an ordinance, we didn't have time to get it in. That's something that's gonna have to be.
We have to
reduced down
separate
meeting.
them out.
And are the contractors Belgrade residents?
Well, yes.
Okay.
Well,
But that doesn't mean
yes,
they're
most,
No, I-
doing jobs.
No, I realize that, but
if we have a contractor come in, they have to get a, from out of town, then they have to get a temporary pass to come in.
But there's nothing saying a Belgrade contractor can't go to Oakland to do a job.
Right,
If
bring
It's
the-
cheaper to
bring
bring
the
the stuff
debris here.
here.
right?
Which right now, it's a lot cheaper to bring it here.
So if you have a contractor who's from Belgrade, who's working on a Belgrade property. Is this gonna make a difference in impact? That's my
No.
only concern.
No,
Well, see, I don't even have a problem if it's a contract. I mean, I was a business owner. For me to bring my stuff over there. Because I'm a business. I'm charging my customers to get rid of the stuff anyway.
Right, yeah,
And a lot of times I'm charging them more than what it's gonna cost me to get rid of it in Belgrade.
right.
So. I honestly. I think we need to charge enough. To help cover our costs so that we're not losing money on time somebody brings in something. So.
I agree.
Are there contractor rates in other towns?
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
You have a separate contract.
How do you determine that? Do you have them register or
I don't know
license?
about a separate contractor rate. What other town has a separate contractor rate?
It's gonna have one very soon.
Winthrop is gonna have.
Belgrade's hope to have one.
That's
We have
that's
to
part of the
wait.
discussion that
We're,
we
we're,
had.
we're a residential transfer station. I mean, we could, by ordinance, ban contractors from bringing stuff and make them go to Orange Walk or anywhere else.
Dan is 1,000% right. The cost just gets passed along to the customer.
Yeah.
Why should the taxpayers be bearing that cost?
Right, that's
Is
why,
that where
And
you
they
live
should.
in Winthrop?
Yes.
Are you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, generally, any job we do, we get dumpsters,
Well, I was
because it's
just,
not worth
I was
us
just gonna ask that, don't
handling it
contractors,
2 or 3 times, so.
don't contractors get dumpsters when
Yeah,
they
for
do jobs?
A lot of jobs,
Yeah,
they
it's the
do,
small ones.
not the smaller jobs.
Well, the only
regular
time I
bathroom,
come, the only time I come see you is with what?
Tires.
That's it, that's the only time I come.
Well, look at all that demo debris we end up with.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee you. Small
for
contractors.
June?
That's that plan, we're gonna start,
an ordinance for June?
in January, we're gonna start going through our ordinance. And see what we need for changes.
That's why I was asking legally, can we have separate stickers and have contractors have a contract just like the haulers do?
Sure, we could, we'll just check into it. We'll try to deal with
And
that.
you have to determine who's a contractor, who's not. I
You'd
mean,
almost have to do a.
local contractors. we
A
have
business
that.
license? Register with the
Yeah.
town?
But what our concern was, that's why we needed something from MMA, because we don't know if that takes an ordinance change, you know.
We'll find out for Jim. Because like I said, the stuff that we're getting in, that we shouldn't be.
This will help, this
This will
pricing
help.
will help considerably.
Right, yeah, right, in the meantime, though, we definitely wanna increase.
So just help me out, when someone comes in with a load, so they have to check with you before they,
Before they dump.
Before they dump it.
Yes.
You go out, look at it, make a,
Well, look at it.
Yes, estimate the cubic.
Yeah,
okay.
cubic yards.
okay,
You know, there are certain size loads that are the X amount of cubic yards, if we don't know, we have to take out the tape measure, measure it up.
okay,
Length times width times height divided by 27, that gives you cubic yards, multiply it by whatever the cubic yard.
I bet he's not doing that in his head.
but,
No, I do a lot of it.
but you,
I have a calculator.
you would be able to know who the contractor is, if it's a Belgrade contractor or out of town contractor.
If it's a bill, yeah, well, I mean, all the guys in town, yeah, pretty much, we know who they are.
Right,
But there are some out of town people that they come in, yeah. Now-
When you guys start dealing with the ordinance, and deal with the contractors, I don't think you need to distinguish. Between contractors, contractors are contractors, so business that make their money,
Right,
so.
right, and they are charging their customers,
They're charging their time and everything else, so, yes. I recommend we just go to $40. That way, you get rough. Twenties and you're not making change, it's less time, it's still $5 less than refield.
so are you recommending 15, 5, and 40, is
No,
that
20, 25.
25?
But Freon was
20,
correct,
yep.
5,
5
And
and
40.
40.
48 yards.
Yeah.
So somebody wanna make a motion to,
Yep, I move that we approve the fee increases for the transfer station. Bring on items from $8 to $20, tires from $3 to $5. Demo wood from $15 a cubic yard to $40 a cubic yard.
Thank you.
And-
Second.
And before you guys do your full thing. He needs to probably start advertising that immediately.
Oh, yeah.
You may wanna change Freon items to refrigerant items, because Freon hasn't been around for
right.
years. Freon was like 7 cycles ago.
I know, but
Freon was a brand name.
I
Yeah,
keep
it's a lot
finding
free-
some in our basement from both refrigerators.
Oh,
Freon-
way back,
Freon's-
yeah,
Yeah, way back.
Freon's a much smaller word, it fits on the punch card.
Could you call it refrigerant?
yeah, because there's many, as they
There's so
update
many
those,
now,
I mean,
Yeah.
But if you use the term refrigerant articles or items,
cause somebody could argue, I mean,
It doesn't have Freon in it.
Right,
yeah.
Yeah.
But you can't just say.
and then
refrigerant.
you're covered, if it's refrigerant, there's 20 different
Right.
ones, so.
And you can't just say refrigerators because there are things that
No,
are.
because-
Well, no, you got air conditioners, you got old
Humidifiers.
heat pumps, anything with, yeah,
refrigerant,
Small print on the punch card.
refrigerant items. is that
30.
what you call it?
Oh, yeah.
All right,
You just need a
and
vote.
we're gonna start this January first,
January
First.
okay, so it's part of that,
Start January 1.
Yeah.
okay. And there was a second,
Yes,
Second.
Michael, yeah.
all those in favor? Five, right.
Yeah, I need a bigger marquee so I can put all that.
Prices increased January 1. Transportation station attendants.
See, see, Ken, yeah.
See Kenny,
Yeah, 'cause,
complain to Kenny.
I mean, we will get the brunt of it, no doubt.
Yeah,
It is
well,
what it
but
is.
every-
It's time.
everything goes up. Unfortunately, everything goes up. All right, other business. No other business.
Actually, I do have one question. I don't know the right time to raise this, but I'm just curious if there's gonna be a schedule or something published for the next budget cycle, just, this is the fact that the next one is gonna be equally as fun.
I would send an email like that to get everybody's days it's gonna work. What's that in January?
All right. FTE warrant articles.
Okay.
Warrant articles, warrant article 143. $770,110.35.
Move to approve. Second.
Discussion,
Fighter in the air.
all who's my president. All in favor? Sorry, no, Daniels.
From Daniels.
That's the one.
Yeah, they're just asked whether we.
Is it like a year?
EMP was.
Nathaniel.
Yeah, Nathaniel.
That's what I do. Rub your, you'll be good, thank you. Y'all have a good night.
Yes, that's kind of what it is.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was just looking at something real quick. Before we move on to the next one, I know we voted on this, can you pull up American Water's fire suppression and tell me what these charges actually did, because they're just inspections, boy, did they go up since I left.
No transfer station says inspection.
Well, they all say inspection, they're just inspection.
Just, what was the thinking?
Maybe it's a really technical inspection.
American Lager.
Yeah, it's not too bad, I mean, they've got it surrounded.
Yeah, that's not bad, it's two-story though.
Fire extinguisher inspections, 17 of them at a rate of $6.50 each. That was November. And then there's like. There's 3.
So they must have grouped them all together instead of breaking them out per department, per station.
Yes.
So it all come out of the same line item, or do we have to have them broken out?
I think we're budgeted to have them broken out.
Yeah,
For this, I know for the 6th
Yeah.
month, because Dan
we are broken out.
had paid attention to that. I do see a transfer station, the maintenance garage, and then Lakes Fire.
Yeah, this only says the Lakes Fire, they don't have 17 fire extinguishers now at the lake station, even with all the ones on the trucks.
No.
That's gotta be almost every fire extinguisher they have in the department.
I also had a question after that one on something else too. I just kind of thought.
So. All right, well, it looks like they grouped a bunch of that together, definitely think we need to. Get some other prices around, because. $100 to do fire extinguishers here or at the garage or wherever was ridiculous.
Question I got on Bernstein. Like $1,800, is that monthly charge? 'Cause I thought they dropped it.
We're still in the fiscal year until December 31.
I thought,
The drop,
but,
the
but,
drop
he-
takes effect in January, Bruce.
but. I guess that's the reason I was pushing for it, well, because if I understand, he dropped it right off the bat because he started this back several months ago. That was gonna put us over the 15,000, threshold. So. I guess I was under the understanding that they were starting the new pricing right off the bat, no, I'm gonna milk this out until January. I guess not very impressed, but that's you guys,
We have a contract for the year.
no, we
But
don't,
this fiscal year to December 31,
do we have a
the
contract?
agreement was $1,800, but I went to Phil and he's putting that back down to $1,245 for January 1, which will be applicable for that 6-month budget.
Should have been right off the bat because it didn't go up to bid, so that's just,
Well, even without it going up bad, would be way over the 15,000 for the year, so. So we're over budget. Right, so we'll talk about that as part of that. Alright. Okay, anything else? We're going to vote on that one, so. 144. $21,194, that is a 18 warrant.
Move to approve.
Second.
Questions or comments on that one? All those in favor? 5-0. 145, $24,843.69. I think another payroll warrant.
Move to approve.
Second.
Questions on that one? All those in favor? Something. The warrant 1046, $450.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any questions? Comments? No? All those in favor? Manager report.
Very short. Last week. Attended leadership meetings with staff on December 12 and 16. Attended a building permit meeting hosted by Queenie College on December 8th via Zoom. I think Hans sent out information to you, Dan, and you, Doug, about that.
Yes.
I've spoken with our snowplow contractor who is putting together some figures for the board to review and let him know the board wishes to extend the current contract by 2 years. We are awaiting final updates on the field use agreement for the workman field, and then we'll bring that back to the board for review and consideration. We still have our notice posted for the local health officer position. I didn't put it on, but I did let you know today that we did hire a new library clerk today, Mary Granholm, who works down at the Center for All Seasons, is also going to serve as our library clerk. I think that's gonna be a really good liaison, and it'll bring those two entities together for some programming. And she's super good with young people and children, so I think she's gonna be a really good fit. We've posted a notice about our emergency fuel assistance program. There's a link on our Facebook page, our website, and on the general assistance section on our website as well. The website upgrade is scheduled to begin in January of 26. And we would like to wish all of you a festive holiday season and thank each of you for your service to our wonderful community.
On the fuel assistance program, I don't know if anyone saw it on channel 8, maybe, Union Church or the Methodist Church has a economic ministry program in Salem. And Jim Webster, who lives here in Belgrade, works a lot on that, and he obtained a grant for $140,000 to set up a wood bank. And they're in process now of, it was on, I don't know if it's channel 6 or channel 8 the other night.
Sorry, who's telling me?
And I don't know if that might be something that is that anything that could come to Belgrade or something in that type of piece? And they're basically bringing wood in and cutting it up and having it available for people who need fuel assistance. So I just throw that out as, I don't know where the grant came from, but looks like Jillian's looked it up.
I was just gonna say, I refer people, there's a website, for the Maine, like, there's a network of, wood banks in the state of Maine that are already set up.
Yeah.
And they are phenomenal, we refer families to them all the time. And so if people are looking to expand, that would be my first call, is to see if they have any volunteers for
Yeah.
other people, but we refer families from Central Maine to them all the time, and they're phenomenal.
Yeah, so it may be something that we want, as we look forward into next year, that, yeah, maybe we could sponsor one, maybe not, I don't know how it would work, but certainly look at it. And if you Google, you'll find, I caught it at the end of the news the other night in the 6 o'clock news or whatever, talking about it, so it was a good blurb about how successful it is and how it works.
They help a lot of people, the economic ministry.
Yeah, they do, and would that be, and that wouldn't be under Scoggin County, I don't know.
No, it's Franklin County.
Franklin County,
Yeah,
so,
that's our neck of the woods.
yeah,
Yeah.
so, we may wanna think of whether we need one in Kennebec County. And I don't know who or where or how, but,
They have, this organization has like a toolkit for setting up new wood banks. I think they can help you, like, if a nonprofit sets up, help you get insurance for it, so they're like. Not just about giving wood, but also expanding it.
yeah,
Uh,
so,
or signing the warrants, I don't have a sign page for 146. In here,
There's not one.
oh, and what is this thing?
That's for the warrant articles.
Okay, so it doesn't say anything on the page.
Yeah, it's
I'm
just.
signing something that doesn't
Yeah,
have
it-
any definition on it.
Trust that.
We'll attach something to it later.
You'll see
You
that.
get, I'll give you this one for the one for it.
Yeah, there's 3 in here, 1, 2, 3.
I just thought of something that we might want to flag on what might want to make prominent on the website, which is the notice that was made public June 3rd about the change in fiscal year, just to remind people, because that notice from June 3rd specifically says plan for your tax bill in April. And I remember that the notice that came with the tax bill had that message with it, and right on the top it said, do not throw this out, save this paper.
It was a bright color.
Yeah, it was a bright color, but I just thought that, the question was raised last week about, is there any consideration for seasonal businesses? People have known for a year almost that there was going to be this change, and I know that doesn't necessarily make it any easier for people, but we have given notice that there would be a tax bill due in April.
So I think what the struggle is, I've talked to Doug about this, and I can't wrap my eye. Maybe somebody else see us tomorrow night and wrap around. So as of right now, we pay taxes September 25 to take us to September 26. We paid a full year's worth of taxes. It's how we've done it every year. 24, we paid taxes in September 24 to take us to September 25. So how we've been paying our bills for a year.
I know, I know,
know.
but the money you collect is for that fiscal year.
Correct, but
But like the experience of being a human who's paying taxes, in our minds, it's
right,
like.
and
because-
everybody else's minds, this is why this is all coming up to an issue. And the problem is, yes, it's for the fiscal year, okay? We just paid taxes in September of 2025. What's that fiscal year covering?
January
It's
before.
The January before,
It's January through
the
December
taxes
of
that are
twenty
paid.
twenty-five.
That's
tax-
why we didn't talk about the tax anticipation though, because we're
Right.
covering expenses from January to whenever, if we don't have enough money sitting in the budget, that's how taxes are collected.
To get you there.
To pay
Right.
for it.
Right.
Taxes weren't due until September,
Right.
and the year was 8 months
The
in.
problem is we all made a mistake and we did not explain this to the taxpayers good enough so they realize this. So a lot of taxpayers are feeling or thinking the same way I'm thinking, well, geez, all these years I paid taxes in September to take us to September. I know that, but
September to take us to the end of December.
but people don't get it that way, you know, and then I can understand because I'm the same way. I sit there and go over the money, I'm going, will you please bounce this off my head? I said, because this is a question that's been asked me 4 times, you know, I've had it asked to me 4 times in the last week. And that's the big question that a lot of people are having is, well, why all of a sudden we've been paying September, now we've already paid September the 25, that should take so September is 26, so we shouldn't have to pay again until October. That's why there's a lot of question coming up about that.
But just to explain it that way, but then also say, you know, the taxes coming out this year, what, April?
Yeah.
They're gonna be from January to June. So you're paying taxes in April, but you're paying back taxes to the beginning of January, when it started.
And you're only paying half of the bill, you're paying half in April and then half in
Right,
October.
but
Well,
way I
we
was
could fix it and have you pay all of your tax bill in January for the whole year, and then you're set.
well, the problem is a lot of people are struggling because, you know, we're an aging community. And that's, you know, that's the biggest, and the biggest of it is the seasonal businesses. I mean, that is a lot of them.
Well, we knew that this first.
Well, it's gonna be tough.
It was gonna be
Let's
tough.
make a budget.
Because just to get people used to doing it, you know, just the new fiscal year, it's gonna be, there's gonna be a lot of heartburn. That first 6 months, I mean, it's.
So do we, you know, the point that Jan brought up the other day. Do we want to talk about, is there any way we could come up with a creative way to help? Or to make it easier?
There is, but.
My concern is that it's across every age bracket. Like if I talk to the people that have 2 kids in daycare and they've got 2 incomes, they're struggling to feed their kids and make ends meet. Same as people on a fixed income who are retired. Like it's, you know, and the minute you start cutting taxes for one age bracket, it puts more weight on others. So, you know, it's a hard time for everybody. But unless they fall into a particular category that would be eligible for a property tax abatement or other programs, it's hard for me to see how we can.
Well, I mean, I've been running this through my brain cell and, so the only thought I had, which everyone's gonna jump up and down, is that we say, if you pay X amount, 50%, 30%, 80%, pick a number, when it's due in April. As long as you pay your balance by June 30th, we will not charge you interest for those 3 months.
You'd have to do that for everybody in town.
We would have to do it for everybody. And there will be some people that will take advantage of it.
And I don't know if we actually do that.
I don't know if we can do that.
And legally.
I think Mary chimed in last time and explained something, didn't she?
Yeah, that is going to be a tax collector nightmare, because you're going to have liens, you're going to have different things. It's already going to be enough work with the 6-month budget.
Well,
So-
I think we could pass a warrant article saying, da 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 da. I'm
It's one thing.
I'm trying to find a way.
You want to pass a warrant article then doing a tax club and setting up a tax club and not charging any interest. So we can set up tax clubs and not charge interest, but I mean, we did that in Augusta And, but if you were late for a payment, the interest was applied.
Right,
But-
so like when you buy something at Best Buy or one of those, there's an interest free until. But on that day, if you haven't paid it in full, you get
Yeah.
all the back interest. So I don't
And
know if I just, we talked about, or at least I said we should think about it. And I think we at least, maybe this is the conversation where we're saying, we've talked about it and maybe can't figure out a way to do it.
But I think the question is legally,
I don't know.
can we come up with something?
I don't think, I don't think, but you'd have to find out, but again, if you're gonna do it, it has to be done for everybody.
Yeah,
Which
absolutely.
is gonna actually make it pain in the butt, because you're gonna have everybody's own, yeah, I'm not gonna send my taxes until June.
Right. And then what are we
Yeah.
gonna?
So you can do the tax club legally by the commitment date, but because the tax year is until June 30th, it's only going to be April, May, and June. You're going to have 3 months of a tax club. So it is possible.
So what do you mean by a tax club, that you would pay a third,
It's like a Christmas club.
Yeah.
Well, people can pay ahead now anyway.
Well, they can pay ahead now, right? And we
You
do
can-
accept prepayments, but people
Yeah.
don't pay ahead. But this is a formal tax club that you set up through Trio, that you send out the coupons to everybody, and you get 3 coupons, and you pay by coupon.
And
So
but if,
it-
but could
There's
it,
a cost with that too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there
but-
is a cost to that, and it's going to be a lot of maintenance.
but could it be April, May, June if the tax deadline is April 30th, or would it have to be January or February, March, April? I mean,
Yeah,
can it be,
usually
can it be
usually the
later?
tax clubs are set up for a whole year.
The only people this is gonna really affect are anybody who doesn't have a mortgage. Most people that have a mortgage have their taxes escrowed in.
Oh,
Right.
you'll see that in your escrow.
So
Your
like,
folks that
the
don't
money's
have a
gonna be there for those months in escrow.
Yeah.
The banks are gonna have to send it in for,
Right,
because
Right.
you paid into your escrow.
right. So it's people who paid off their.
It's people who have paid off their mortgage or don't have it escrowed in somehow.
Right.
That's the one that's gonna affect the most.
It seems like you might see a jump, at least initially, in people who are applying for property tax abatements, and then, the board can address that as they come up.
Tax abatements are for something that the assessor did wrong. That's a
Yeah,
tax
the
abatement.
only way you can abate is it has to be like, 3 years in arrear, then you can abate 1 year to keep from foreclosing on somebody's property.
That's the type of abatement I'm thinking
Yeah,
of,
which,
that we help people.
which really isn't gonna affect, because it'd be. Well,
Right.
it's 3 years out on anybody who hasn't been already behind on the taxes. So,
Quick question, how's the senior ordinance going to work for this? Is it going to be applicable to the 6-month budget, or is it only going to be applicable to the July 1st through the June 30th budget?
I think it would have to be applicable. I don't know, I'm trying to look at the transition. And then I guess in my head is. If it's the hardest time of the year, your fuel bills are, blah, 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 all of that. So coming to pay that bill in April could be a real challenge. So is there anything we can do to give people till June 30th to get that tax bill paid? Because they would start to be, if they're seasonal, getting more income. And then you need to plan your budgeting, you need to re-budget.
But as Jan was saying, even seasonal businesses don't really see much in the way of income until July.
No, but the beginning, I don't know, I think we talked about having a conversation. I think we need to at least honor. Is there a
So
way,
should that
and
be-
I don't know, I haven't come up with
So
any
should
bright
this be an
plan.
agenda item for?
We could have an agenda
next-
item for
next-
January, but I don't know what the solution is, or if there is one.
We're agenda.
Yeah,
it's gonna be what it's gonna be right now.
Yeah. I mean, but Mary's question about the senior, we haven't even discussed that yet.
Well, that happened, if that ordinance will be put into effect, it's in
Right.
effect, so it has to.
Right, we just gotta figure out how that's gonna work.
Yeah, but is it gonna run for the 6 months? And then, because if you look at the deadlines and the dates,
It
they
doesn't
all,
get paid out until September anyway. September, October, and it goes by the tax filing, so April. What is it, April 1st or April 15 we have?
April
So that would
April
still
15.
apply. And the payment is out of a capital projects fund. So the money is there, we're not budgeting.
But we didn't put any money into.
There's money in there
Money in
right
there.
now.
Yeah, but do we have enough, or do we need
Yes.
to replenish that for some
I
of the
think,
first
I
6
think that
months?
we have plenty,
Okay.
yeah,
We'll have to replenish it when we get into the next budget.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe think about, something to think about when we're doing budgetary, is some of that money, like the tan. 103,000 on the tan, did we put,
We're thinking, my recommendation for that would be to take 100,000 and put it into the reval capital project fund, and then that should fully fund
that?
that
I agree with
account.
that.
So that when it's time to do that, we're not taxing and putting a huge burden on people. It will already be there, good to go.
And that's an educational piece that we need to do, because I think people don't really understand reserve accounts, but we're not dealing with reserve accounts in this 6 month budget. So,
Right.
No, that's why I'm saying
Yeah.
that, that's why this next budget is gonna be even harder in the first 6 months, because it's all new territory to everybody.
But you have to explain those in the presentation that's put on. I understand that we're not talking about them strategic specifically in this budget, but if you don't address what we have in reserve, why we have it, why you've made the decisions over the last several years, like that's a big part of why there is concern in the community. And like that, Lorna, that's a great example of like you're looking ahead so that this doesn't impact taxes, but we need to explain that at the
Absolutely.
outset of this presentation so that they see the bigger picture.
Well, I think there's a misconception that we have huge amounts sitting out there,
Which we.
and we don't. And and especially if we're concerned about the 6 month budget passing in certain areas, I think we need to make sure that we explain how those accounts work. Because I think there's a misconception that we're sitting on millions and millions of dollars, and
I also think there's I've thought about this so much to try to figure out how to wrap my head around it, but it feels like there's a difference in opinion about how things should be done. Like the board has traditionally used what's left over to set money aside for future projects. And I think it seems like, at least like you have 100,000 left over, you're gonna set it aside in a way, set the town up for what they need in the future. I think that there's a group of people who feel like you should be saying, we need this money for X and Y, and asking for it and dedicating it, rather than using those reserves to fill these accounts that we need to fill. But I think that there's just a difference in opinion in how that is done, like how that budgeting is done.
right.
And that's part of what the confusion is.
But there's always been that same, that we've had that battle. I've been on the board for almost 20 years, had that battle.
That's why we
all
did,
the time.
that's why the capital reserve started, because the expenditure stuff is
And
costing
capital
much.
project, capital project accounts are set up by voters. Voters at town meeting have to vote to set them up. They also have to vote to fund them.
every year.
And by statute, the select board has authority to expend the monies according to how or what those capital project accounts were set up for.
I still don't think that means people understand it.
Yeah, and a lot
Well,
of-
that's why I'm saying we need to have an educational piece on it, but I wasn't sure if we can take the time in January when we're not dealing with reserve accounts in this 6 months
I
budget.
think we need to take the time in January to explain
have
that.
to do the best we absolutely can.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not gonna,
I mean, what's a new fire truck cost? $1 million?
Winthrop's buying one for 2 million, right?
Now, the one we're specking out right now is probably gonna be between somewhere between 5 and 7.
So if we aren't putting money into these funds, then we come here and oops, now we need a fire truck and I think maybe the fire truck is a good example of explaining why we have these funds and then go through what the other funds are.
Reserves, what they do is they just bond for everything.
Yeah,
And pay interest.
you pay
I
it,
think setting money aside is absolutely the way to go. I appreciate that that's something being done. It's just making sure that everybody understands it
right,
and that they understand how we got to where we are. You know, and
right.
I mean,
Yeah.
a new rescue truck is between 300 and 400,000. And all these, even if we ordered today. You
You're
have
not
3
gonna
to
get it.
4 years before you can see it.
And nothing is cheap anymore.
No,
No, well,
We
that's
just
why
see
we have
things
these
going
funds.
up and up.
Yeah, and one thing we can do with the reserve funds, as we did with the perpetuity articles, is have a little explanation. Rather than just list the accounts, have a paragraph of explanation at the top of the page. Reserve accounts are set up by the voters at town meeting for a specific capital project. The town meeting votes every year as to how much money is going to go into each reserve account, just so people don't go to the website and find just a page of numbers, but they have it in
And they
context.
don't
Maybe
understand
that's,
why.
you know, maybe that's
we're
what.
not doing it this year because this is a special year.
That's
The
why
next time we're
letting-
here, we'll be doing this again, we'll be revisiting it.
That's why letting department budget, monies that were not expended lapse into a capital project account, to me is not transparent at all.
I would prefer, if you're gonna let them lapse, then you reduce the amount that they're asking for to go into the reserve by that same amount. So if you've got this much left in your budget, either if you wanted to go into that capital reserve, then if you ask for $100,000, you had, $20,000 going in there, you reduce that $100,000 by.
I mean,
But if it just fell to undesignated and then in your warrant article, right,
So that way
take-
it's the same amount all the
but
time.
it's more transparent.
I mean, the only one that doesn't ask for money to go into a capital reserve is a rec. They take their extra. That's the only way they really build their capital reserve is from whatever's left over from, basically from there.
Yeah, everybody else
Hey,
usually
right.
asks for money to go.
But that's why I'd like to see some point, and I think that finance committee involved in it, come up with caps. This is how much we wanna see into these capital reserves,
Goals.
because, and what happens is every year you go to the departments, okay, do you have a big budget coming up? Do we need to increase that cap? Or do we keep it the same? Or next year, do we increase it, and then once you spend it out, the next year we go back to the lower cap? I'd like to see caps.
That's why each department, transfer station has a 3, 5, 10 year. Project plan or goals, I guess I would call them. Fire department, I think, has done up to a 30-year plan. With truck replacements, so on and so forth. And some of this, if some new laws get passed by the federal government. You might as well throw rail to do it.
We would have had to get rid of half of our fleet already.
Yeah, cause it's 10
It
years.
would have changed that fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
So just going back to something that said, the recreation. There has never been any contribution to the recreation reserve from anything other than their excess budget.
It has been, but
I mean, because we.
I know that since I've been here, there's never been a request, I don't believe, to fund. You know how we have a separate warrant article to fund those capital project accounts?
Right.
I do not remember seeing anything since I've been here for a request to go into the recreation.
Because there is the one for the North Belgrade waterfront area, but which is part of recreation, but that's a specific.
Right,
It's North
right, it's
Belgrade.
been sub-accounted.
Yeah,
within-
sub-account, yeah.
All right,
Okay,
Okay,
ready to go.
It's complicated.
well, I just wanted to be able to sort of put that out there because we talked about doing it and if someone can come up with a way, I haven't yet, but
Has anybody asked, I mean, lots of towns have made transitions like this, if MMA has any advice or guidance? Or has information from other towns that have experienced?
I mean, believe it or not, that a lot of ours came from Anthony because. At least my information is because Anthony took a class on this.
Yeah.
So he's, he's been a lot of help on how to do this for me to learn how to do it, just because he took that class when he was town manager.
And he's been in favor of this for a
A
while.
long time, yeah.
I mean, here's other towns.
Yeah.
Dennis was in favor.
Yeah,
Dennis,
Guess we finally did it, doing it.
Yeah.
it's just trying to get it explained to everybody, it's no, you're not paying, that,
no, and it's a time where things keep going up, and it's a difficult time that we've chosen to do it, but we're doing it, but.
and I'm.
So there are a lot of things coming together at one time.
Remember, what was it, 8 or 10 years ago, when we kept talking about it, you were dead set against it.
I was.
You didn't, well, nothing.
Alana got me into it when she told me what the interest rate was gonna be for a tan.
So I think in the long run, it's gonna help the town, but we've gotta.
We've got to get there.
Gotta get there.
People,
It's hard, it's something hard, because we've never budgeted something, it's a lot of work, it's hard to understand. And then the next one's gonna be even harder, that's why we're starting in January, because it's gonna.
it's gonna be harder, but at least it's gonna be a full year budget.
Right.
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 Not that it's gonna be harder, because we're basically taking the full year and we're having, the higher expenditure side, for the first half of the year, and the lower
Yeah,
expenditure
wait.
side.
Well,
The-
but
the
you
second
got-
half.
Depends on what budget you're looking at, I think.
yeah, because if you go by 2025 budget, by the time you budget in the 25-26 budget, that's gonna be 18-month-old budget.
But we're not gonna look at it as an 18-month budget.
No, the 18-month-old
Oh,
budget,
18-month old budget.
so your number's gonna be old, so.
What you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to use last June until January,
Right,
and you're gonna have to take the budget we're passing now and use that
Right,
for the
For the
fall,
second half
for the
of
second
the
half.
With the
Yeah.
actuals.
yeah,
yeah.
Would be actually.
After that, it'll be easy.
Right, that's what like I said, it's his first year, and then doing, there's a lot of stuff that I'd like to see. We finally have a full budget committee, we haven't had a full budget committee in years. Be able to actually start doing budgetary stuff and start, going through capital reserves, going through some of these special funds and, trying to figure it out.
I don't get MMA's emails, but if there is any training that comes out or, something that could help us as a committee
Right.
do a better job, please let me know. Like, I'm happy to take time off and
Mary normally
attend
knows
stuff.
what's coming up with that.
Yeah, but I mean,
Maybe
that
I'll
should
post
be,
it on their website.
right.
Yeah, they usually have a list of trainings, like you have time to go look at that, right?
I'm gonna try, but
If I see something that comes through my email that I think that you would be interested in, I'll send it off.
I will try.
I don't know, yeah, he sent it.
yeah.
I'll make a
Check and
note.
see which one. he
Yeah,
said.
that would,
I'll
I'll keep it,
I'll do training if I can.
there we go.
Okay, we have a motion,
Move to adjourn.
Second.
all those in favor?
Woo-hoo,
Is that the motion?
Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho.